Tell me just a story about the impact that Best Buddies has made on a child with intellectual disabilities.
Sure. I mean, there's thousands of them, of course, and I get them all the time, honestly, and they're small in some ways and big in other ways. I mean, big ones are like, my first buddy in Miami, Florida, when I came, sat at home, watched TV with his mom, and had no job, no sort of social life, no network, and today he's been in the same job through Best Buddies Jobs for 18 years, and makes a living, lives independently on his own behind his mom's house in his own apartment, cares for himself, rides public transportation all over the city, has enough money to go to a Miami Heat game or Miami Dolphins game, went to the Super Bowl in Tampa one year, has an incredible social network, not only the people that he's met through me, but those people have introduced him to other people, so he knows a lot of people. He really lives a thriving, integrated, wonderful life, and I think that's what we all want for our kids. I mean, I want that for my kids, and you want that for your kids, and I think the parents of people with special needs want exactly the same thing that I want. And I think when you see someone seems to have so little and is so sort of isolated and segregated from society, that through Best Buddies Jobs and through relationships with people in Best Buddies, that they really have a full, enriched, engaged life. To me, that's a home run, big success, and I think that's what we really want. And I think, they start in little baby steps in schools. I'll go to a school and be a kid that will be bullied in the school or left out or eat lunch alone, and now they're having lunch together. They're the prom king or the prom queen in a school. A kid was telling me just yesterday that she was in the hospital a couple months ago, and she got flowers from her buddy, and it's the first time she'd ever gotten flowers from anybody in her whole life, and she's, I think, 32 years of age. Wow. It's simple expressions of concern, I think, and care that a buddy can give to another person with special needs that makes them feel like, they matter, they count, which is what I think all of us want to feel like, that what we're doing in our lives matters and it counts, and that that we're contributing in some meaningful way, and that we're playing a role in the grand scheme of the world. And I think, a volunteer can do that for a person with special needs, but a special needs person does it, without even knowing it, to their volunteers, and making them feel like, wow, when, you send it to a person with special needs, it may be one of the most important things in their whole life.
Right,
and
because
wow,
they don't experience that on a regular basis.
And they don't expect it, and I think, it's great, when you get in a mindset, and I think people with special needs have that very often. You get in a mindset where you don't expect things, and you don't expect someone to do X, Y, and Z to you, and then when they do it, you're like, wow, you're overwhelmed by it. I think we get in a lot in our society, too, where everybody expects you to write a thing. You expect when you flower, you have a kid, they expect you to send something to them. I think people, especially don't do it and don't think that way, and when you do it for them, they're just so overwhelmed and so grateful, and that's really refreshing and wonderful to see. We have so many success stories with our buddies that, have never had enormous fear of giving a speech or speaking out in public, and they go through our ambassadors program, they get trained, and we work on oratory skills and speaking skills, and they go out there and they speak in front of 500 people or 1,000 people or 2,000 people, and they kill it. Yeah. And they're articulate, and they have a great presence about them, and they're forceful and sensitive, and they tell a great story of their life and what Best Buddies has meant to them in their life and what friendship means to them. And I think when you see someone who's so shy and reserved, and then they come out of their sort of shell, and they command an audience of 2,000 people better than Barack Obama, it's exciting. I mean, it's a real success story. Or when in my own personal life, when I have a buddy and he meets my children, and my children become more patient, more compassionate, and more grateful for the gifts that they have as a result of having that person around them and seeing that person. Mm-hmm. Like my buddy in Miami, I'll never forget it, when my kid was always in the water polo team, he was the guy that came to the water polo games with me. He cheered louder than anybody else. My kid would be in the huddle with his team and the coach, and my buddy would get in the huddle, and he'd be part of the team, and even the most tense moments, he'd jump in there and he'd just relax the whole team. And he was just such a fan, and so much enthusiasm. And it's one of the things that my kid remembers the most about, water polo season, not being captain of the team, but, that, George was part of the team, and he was there, and the coach still, and I see the coach, he still says, oh my God, it was so great when George came to all the games. We missed it so much when your son Teddy graduated. So, I think that, there's just so many little stories like that, where they have a huge impact and, carry their grace and their presence of God with them, and I think it, enriches everybody's life.